Today I'm going to be trying out some of the techniques in this book, The Natural Navigator by Tristan Gooley. By taking a walk in the local woodland, I'm hoping to find some of the things pointed out by Tristan and put them into practice in the real world. Of all the survival skills or outdoor skills we learn, there's one that perhaps has use every day of our lives, and that's navigation. Now, we don't always have a map and compass to hand, although knowing how to use one of these is one of the first things anybody venturing out into the wilderness should do. But there's a whole world of natural navigation techniques that can help us become more attuned to our environment and help us survive and enjoy our time in the outdoors. So it's a dull and damp day for my walk, typical English weather, fairly mild, but not a lot of natural directional indication from the sun, which obviously is good for trying out a few of the other methods. A key theme you'll spot as you work through the techniques in the book is how much it's influenced by the prevailing weather and climate of the location. So it's worth noting that key to this is understanding the conditions where you are. For the UK, where I am, this means southwesterly winds, which play a strong part in influencing the landscapes around us. One of the first places to look is trees and plants. Trees and plants are hugely impacted by the direction of the sun and prevailing weather conditions. So if we spot these effects on plants, these can give a good directional indication. One of the basic principles Tristan talks about in the book is the influence of the sun's direction on how trees grow. So what we'll tend to see, or what we'll look out for, is this effect where the branches on the south side of the tree, so facing the prevailing direction of the sun, will tend to grow out more horizontally and with a heavier weight, if we take a central line of the tree, on the southerly side of the tree, as they try and maximise their exposure to sunlight. And on the north side of the tree will have more vertically pointing branches to give this sort of tick effect in the shape of branches within the tree. What's very clear is that this horizontal versus vertical branch growth indicator of direction works best with isolated trees. So trees on flat ground in open space like this large oak show that effect quite prominently. When in thicker woodland, one of the methods Tristan talks about is to look at the bigger and older trees, such as this pretty big oak. And again, in this case, we do see a very clear, weightier side of the tree to the right here, which is, in this case, directly south. The watch out here is tree position. Whilst these trees all appear to have a weight of growth to the left here, that isn't actually in the southerly direction, but it's more about moving towards the sunlight of the open farmland versus the darker woodland. Another watch out highlighted by Tristan is the effect of slopes. Here and with the next tree, the down slope offering a natural direction for the trees to grow and lean. Another tip given is the direction of fallen trees. Now, if we look at this large old oak fallen, a few more small birch and another bigger birch over here, they are all orientated or falling roughly in the same direction, which is towards the east to northeast, which again aligns quite nicely with the theory that most winter storms in the UK come from the southwest. Here we have a clump of uprooted birch, all clearly knocked over by those westerly winter storms. Now the wind on occasion may provide a counteracting force to the pull towards the sunlight. You know, we often see it on the coast where small shrubs and trees take this sort of windswept look, even though that is directly opposite to the prevailing sun. What I noticed a lot on the walk today was that even if a tree has a directional growth pattern towards the sun, you'd often see the effect of the wind in the smaller branches giving a slightly combed over effect, and especially in some of the taller trees, they would often take this or the taller thinner trees, this slightly combed over appearance to them as a result of the prevailing wind. I think this tree gives a nice example. It's clearly got a lot of more weight to its growth on its right hand or southerly side, but the tops just look like they're being lightly combed over by the prevailing southwesterly winds. If we look at logs, you can see the effect quite nicely, but the heart of the tree is very rarely dead centre. What we see is that the heart is typically closer to the edge on the south side of the tree, or at least that's the theory that I'm going to have a look at today. These are all logs from ash trees that have been felled due to the ash dieback problem, unfortunately. So let's check out a few tree stumps in situ and see if we can see that. So here's a nice clear example where the heart of each branch of this double stemmed ash is actually closer to the south side of the tree than the north. Here's another nice example of where the heart of the tree stump is very clearly on the southerly side of the tree. With the tree stump centre technique, one important thing to note is that there are many other factors that influence it, such as slope and the sun direction generally. So it needs use with care. Perhaps looking at an array of tree stumps to gain a broader picture is the most effective approach here. Another really commonly cited directional indicator related to trees themselves is stuff growing on them. Both mosses and lichens may show different growth patterns depending on the orientation of the sun. Moss likes moisture. In this case, the moss is growing on the sunnier aspect of the tree, largely because of the natural lean and slope of the tree with its crozzled bark means this is likely where most of the moisture is collected. So overall with mosses, I found their directional indication to be not reliable at all, or not even present at all. And as indicated again by Tristan, really for mosses it's about moisture and where they're going to find the most effective supply of moisture. This rust-coloured lichen is one cited as preferring the shadier side of the tree. In this case, quite nicely corresponding with the northeast facing side of the tree. More of this orange lichen or lichen. Again, this has probably been a super reliable indicator of direction in this specific woodland. Here's another species, lichen or lichen, but in this case they're all on the south side of the tree, which obviously shows that you can't generalise by species. Again, another good example of where learning a little bit about the specific habitat you're entering can be useful. Long grass is of course also heavily influenced by the prevailing wind, and here with a clear sweep to the right that absolutely reflects the southwesterly prevailing wind direction. In this case, showing a clear lean away from the direction of the prevailing southwesterly. Some early seasonal flowers and primroses, again straining towards the light. I've really enjoyed this journey into natural navigation with this book. There's a huge amount more to learn though. Today I just looked at some of the plant-based areas, and of course the book covers everything from the sea to the sun and the stars and the moon to animals, etc. as well. I'm doing a trip to the mountains in the next couple of weeks, so I'm hoping to see if I can apply some of those methods and do a follow-up in mountainous environments with some of the techniques shown here.